In 78 governor's contests since 1848 in Wisconsin, there have been 68 Republicans, 67 Democrats, 5 progressives, 4 Whigs, and 2 independents who have finished first or second in the general election, and they were all men.
For the first time in Wisconsin's history, a woman, Mary Burke, will be running for the state's highest office. History was made in Wisconsin last night. Several interesting races were decided in yesterday's primary, and with analysis is the director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin. Good to see you again.
Good to be back.
We have a woman running for governor, attorney general. Woman
Yes.
running for her office. This is going to make things interesting.
Yeah, I think it will. You know, we're already looking at a close competitive race in the governor's case. Now we'll be rolling out the attorney general's race that we know we've got 2 prosecutors running against each other for that. And Susan Happ, who won the attorney general's race last night, you know, did so quite convincingly. So for a first statewide office run, she's off to a good start. The Republicans are already unified behind their candidate. So.
Money is always an issue, of course. Do you think now with the makeup of the campaigns, do you think that we'll see more money being flooded into Wisconsin?
I think as long as the races remain close, you'll see more money flow in. If one candidate took a big lead over the other, then there'd be a lot of reason for national money at least to go to a competitive Senate race somewhere. But we've now had 4 polls in a row, 2 by Marquette and 2 by other organizations, all of them showing either a dead tie or inside the margin of error. So at the moment, the governor's race looks totally up for grabs. No one's polled on the attorney general's race yet, so we wait to see what's happening with that.
Let's turn to Brett Halsey. He received 17% of the vote, 52,000 votes. Is that troubling for Burke, or are those crossover votes?
I think that's a small effect, and ultimately, after today, she's the nominee. It hardly matters. If you treat those as sincere Democratic supporters who are not thrilled with Mary Burke, then that would be a little bit troubling. But remember also, it's a very small turnout. We're looking at under 15% turnout yesterday. So I think that's not likely to linger for the Burke campaign at all.
In the governor's race, where do you think people need to go? Where do you think Burke and Walker need to go to kind of hit that honey hole? I mean, is it northern Wisconsin? You know, Stevens Point, Minocqua, that's where they were today.
Well, we're seeing a lot of geographic concentration on the west and the north. La Crosse to Eau Claire and over to Wausau and still a little further to Green Bay and Appleton. Those are areas that Walker won handily in 2010 and 2012. But which shifted Democratic in the 2012 November election, and where our polling is showing a pretty close race in that area, considerably closer than we saw there 2 years ago. So I think it's not an accident that both campaigns have been spending a good bit of time and a good bit of advertising budget there.
Any other interesting races that stood out?
Oh, goodness. Well, the 6th congressional district that kept us up so late last night, or at least some of us, I was up to 223 when Sheboygan finally posted their final results. That looks like it's going to a recount with just a 214 vote margin right now. And we've just found out there are 1,400 at least absentee ballots yet to be counted. So we may be a while knowing how that one's going to turn out. And in Dale Schultz's old district, the 17th, we have a margin of 2 votes separating the 2 candidates. So that will take a while to decide as well.
Which just points out every vote counts.
It sure does, and especially, ironically, a low turnout election actually makes it a little more likely that you end up with these very low margins because so many fewer voters turning out than in a November election.
3 months to go.
Counting the days.
Charles, thank you. Insightful as always. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.